This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the chairman and CEO of Gold Royalty Corp, Mr. David Garofalo. David, it's been a busy couple of months for you. How are you doing?
I'm well, thanks. It actually goes back to last summer when we really started putting together a team to bring Gold Royalty to the market. And that took many months of preparation, legal work and whatnot, and culminated with our successful IPO back in March when we raised $90 million US. And now we're putting that capital to work as we promised.
Let's talk about how you're putting that capital to work. You've had an eventful, as you mentioned, it's been an eventful year, obviously, but this week in particular, you announced a combination with Ely Gold to create a leading growth and America's focused precious metals royalty company, a transaction that was very well received by the market. And I saw several analysts that upped their price targets on the transaction and the assets. Tell me a bit about why it's accretive, why it's attractive. And again, congrats, because the last time we spoke, we talked about the robustness of that treasury, and you're obviously putting it to good use.
Look, what it does is instantly doubles the size of our company from a market cap standpoint. It's almost a merger of equals. This is almost a $300 million Canadian acquisition of Ely Gold Royalties, and that complements our $200 million US market cap, but also complements and diversifies our portfolio of royalties. We came into this transaction with 18 royalties across the Americas, all of them in the development stage. And what Ely brings is an additional 80 royalties, so brings our royalty count to almost 100, and brings 4 cash flowing royalties currently, with another 3 or 4 in the development stage. And so really diversifies not only the number of royalties we have, but brings some near-term cash flow into the portfolio to complement our development stage assets. So we have plenty of organic growth within our existing portfolio through exploration and de-risking of those projects. But now we have a more mature royalty portfolio to complement that and creates critical mass. And so as generalist investors come into the space, they're going to be looking for companies with critical mass in the royalty space. And that affords us an opportunity for a significant re-rate of our multiple. Typically, the more mature, larger scale royalty companies trade at 1.5 to 2 times the underlying value of their business. We're trading at about 1 times right now. So that means we expect a re-rating of 50 to 100% over and above our current share price as this transaction is consummated. That's exciting. The upside is immense for our shareholders.
The timing is excellent. Gold Royalty just announced that it was included in the VanEck Vectors Junior Gold Miners ETF. That happened earlier today. I want to get back to Ely's portfolio because there's also 43 exploration assets within that. Can you speak to that a bit? Because you're setting up a pipeline in what seems to me one of the most overlooked aspects of this bull cycle that we talked about last time, and that is that there's a lack of quality exploration assets and companies that actually know how to develop them. We talked about the team last time, the experience and the business model. This really puts you in a sweet spot. Can you speak to the exploration assets for a bit?
Well, that's the other thing that complements our skill set in bringing the group from Ely into the mix. Trey Wasser will be joining our board. He's the CEO of Ely currently. And Jerry Bauman, his partner, will also be staying on in a consulting capacity post the merger. What's exciting about their model is they've generated all of their royalties internally. In other words, they took exploration stakes in a number of assets in Nevada and then sold those exploration properties to explorers and developers and took royalties back. So they're continually generating at the grassroots level new royalty opportunities rather than going out there and competing for existing royalties, which is a crowded space. The values tend to be dear. It's very, very hard to generate returns. They're generating royalties and originating them themselves. That complements our skill set. We're great at capital markets. We're great at doing M&A within the existing group at Gold Royalty. But this generative model, this platform that Trey and Jerry have created over a number of years really adds another dimension to the Gold Royalty story that didn't exist before. It really makes us a more whole royalty company with skill sets across the spectrum.
I couldn't agree more. That's very well said, David. Anything else that you'd like to add to that?
I'd say to your point, there is a dearth of exploration and development opportunities in the gold sector. As I pointed out the last time we spoke, we've seen a 40% decline in reserves in the gold industry over the last 6 or 7 years. And so these projects that that Ely is generating and Gold Royalty will, as we put these two companies together, are going to become an increasingly dear and important commodity to the gold industry that's looking to replenish their pipelines, to add more development stage and exploration stage assets. And we're going to own royalties on these assets that are going to increase in value. And as they increase in value, the underlying assets, the royalties by extension will increase in value. That's certainly true of the gold mining portfolio, our parent company, upon which we've got royalties on all their assets. These assets are becoming increasingly more valuable in an industry that's starved for development stage opportunities. So as Alistair Still, the new CEO of gold mining, de-risks those assets, we're going to see a re-rate within gold mining's portfolio, and we're going to see a re-rate by extension in gold royalty because we have royalties on each and every one of those projects.
Seems like you're putting yourself in a pretty good spot there for what I see coming. And if I'm half right about what's coming, I think it's going to be a pretty significant re-rating in pretty short order. Congratulations again, David.
Well, thanks so much for having me on again.
Look forward to chatting again soon. It sounds like you got some more deals up the pipeline there.
Indeed. Thank you.
Bye now.
Okay, bye-bye.